Our next speaker is a native from France, Thibaud Clement. He is a 23-year-old marketing and strategy graduate, currently traveling all around the world to learn about e-commerce and in a creative way by meeting experts. This is the DODEQA Project, 12 months, 12 cities, and 12 objectives.
He is very passionate about marketing, entrepreneurship, and web technologies. Thibaud has already launched his first e-commerce website called Friends, Families, and Fools. Please welcome Thibaud Clement.
Hello everyone, and thank you for this great introduction. So I'm sorry I'm not going to sing, but I would like to share a story with you. So last year was my ultimate year of study, and I was very determined to make the most out of it, to prepare my future. And actually I had a simple plan. I wanted to find an idea, set up a business, and grow it, so that at the end of my study, I would be leading a one-year-old company. And I was pretty confident about it. I was kind of sure that I would do it. And pretty much like this guy from the famous show, The A-Team. Sorry. I love it when a plan comes together. But the guy in the middle, who is the boss, I think that if he had been with me at the end of the year, he would probably have been looking at me like this. Because, as you may imagine, things didn't happen according to the plan. Because the truth is, unless you are a fortune teller, business planning is a fantasy. And I would like to tell you a secret. I'm not a fortune teller. So, while I did get my MBA and was very satisfied with that, I made some mistakes. Instead of proactively looking for opportunities, I just waited for them to arise, and they didn't. I did not even invest my time to build meaningful projects. And maybe the worst of all, I did not even enjoy my year because I was focusing on what I was not doing. But there are some upsides when you make mistakes. For instance, our favorite soda was invented as a drug. When Sir Alexander Fleming invented penicillin, he actually didn't intend to revolutionize medicine. And even this small sticky note that we all love and use was created by accident. And I'm not even talking to you about the crazy stuff that people are doing with it right now. So what I want to say is that a man's mistakes are his portals for discovery. And what I discovered through my mistakes is that time is definitely our most underrated resource. So, because I didn't want to reproduce my mistakes, I just come up with a new approach. And I would like to share this approach with you today. Because time is something very abstract, I would like to use a comparison with something more concrete for everyone, which is money. Everyone always says that time is money, but very few of us actually use and consider and spend time as money. Because when we do that, actually what we see is that three paradoxes unveil. So let's have a look at these three paradoxes. The first paradox is related to the way that we spend our time. Because most of us, we are very careful with the way that we spend our money. We just try to make thoughtful decisions, and we are kind of aware of it. But, yeah, and I would like to show you this cartoon. There is on the left a man who is selling some £1 notes for 30 pence, and we are very tempted to make fun of him. But the thing is, what we don't get is that most of the time when we don't choose what we want to do with our time and our life, we are not doing anything better than he is. So what I learned last year is that we have to make choices. We have to make a choice of what we want to do with our time. And we have to avoid passivity at any cost, which is basically what I didn't do last year. So that would be the lesson number one that I learned, which is that I was the only one responsible and accountable for what I wanted to do with my time. And I think that as human beings, because we are capable of doing it, it is our duty to decide what we want to do with our time, especially when we are young. So that was product number 1. Let's have a look at product number 2, which is related to the way that we invest our time. So that may sound surprising, but when we have some money available on our bank account, we just consider it to be an available asset, and we are tempted to take it from the checking accounts, putting on the savings accounts, because we want to take advantage of interest rates and some complicated stuff, because we have an objective. We want to generate some future benefits. And the reason why we do that is because we consider this money to be an available asset. And here what is interesting, I guess, is to think that we can do the exact same thing with the free time that we have ahead of us. Actually, if we have a look at the definition of an asset, we see that times perfectly fit this definition. Because time is a resource with an economic value, since we can trade it against money. That an individual, just like you and I, or a corporation or a country, owns or controls. And as I just said, we control our time. But what is very tricky here is that we can consider time and think about it with the expectation that it will provide future benefit. This year I had the pleasure and the honor to meet many entrepreneurs. And if you ask them what they think they would need more, they will tell you that they absolutely need more money. But when I think about it, I just think that we as entrepreneurs actually need more time to do the incredible amount of tasks that we have to do, more time to repay our debts and loans, and more time to grow our business. So this would be the lesson number 2 that I learned last year, that time is definitely an asset, and that we can play with it with anticipation to build meaningful projects, especially when we are young, when we have free time ahead of us. And we can use this time to build meaningful projects like startups and non-for-profit or personal challenges and just initiatives. So that was the product number 2. And the product number 3, which is the last but not the least, is related to the way that we enjoy our time. And I think it's interesting to think about what we do if we find some money on the floor. Very few of us would actually leave it there, because we know the value of even the smallest coin. And we know that we can buy something as sweet as a lollipop, even with a few cents or a few bahts. So what I don't understand is why we don't do the same thing with time. Why don't we try? Why don't we try to enjoy each second, even the smallest amounts of time that we have every day, and to use these moments to just recall all the great things that we have in life. And I think this is a very, very important notice, because it allows us to balance the first 2 principles that we saw. Some people will say, I'm getting old. And I think that these people may have been strong enough to decide what they wanted to do with their life, and smart enough to invest their time properly. But maybe they could just get aware of the fact that they still have control over the time that is left for them, and that they can just enjoy it as much as they can. So that would be my lesson number 3, what I learned last year about time, which is that time is definitely a gift. And as a gift, we have to do our best to enjoy it as much as possible. So when people now tell me that time is money, I just pause for a couple of seconds and just smile and think about it, and just recall myself that, no, I don't agree, sorry. For me, time is much more than money. And since I knew that time is much more than money, I did what any business students would have done. I traded what had a lower value for something that had a higher value. And this is why I invested some of my money in the DODEQA Project, to have 1 year off in my life and to travel for 12 months in 12 cities and try to achieve 12 objectives. Because I wanted to have this free time that I had wasted last year to learn what I wanted to learn and discover new cultures and build meaningful projects. So the thing is, I think you don't need to do the same mistake that I did. And you don't need to go that far with such a project. Because actually, this is why I'm here. I'm here to share with you the value of time. And I think that if you understood the value of time during this presentation, then you are infinitely richer than you were 10 minutes ago. And this raises a new question. And this new question is actually, what? What are you going to do with this wealth? Thank you.